What's going on, everyone? It's the Fantasy Football Almanac, back at it with another fantasy football video. Today we are going to be discussing waiver wires for week 4 of fantasy football. But before we hop in, if you guys could go down, give this video a like, give this video a comment. I am answering every single fantasy football related comment, whether it be trade related, start sits, anything. I'm more than happy to help you all. And subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on if you do enjoy this video. With that out of the way, let's hop right into our first waiver wire addition, somebody that I think is a must pick up in every single format, and that is Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert this week was a monster. I don't think anybody can say differently, putting up 30 fantasy points, 157 yards, 20 attempts, and 2 touchdowns, stepping in for David Montgomery, who is now questionable for this upcoming week. I mean, 1, Khalil Herbert proved that he is one of the most talented backup running backs that we've seen. 2, he's only rostered in 47% of leagues, meaning there's a 50-50 chance that you can go out and pick him up on your waiver wires right now. And 3, we've seen this from Khalil Herbert before. When he stepped in for David Montgomery last season, when David Montgomery missed 4 games, Khalil Herbert averaged over 20 opportunities a game and had 104 yards from scrimmage a game while David Montgomery was out. Well, yes, David Montgomery may be coming back. We are not exactly certain on David Montgomery's status for this upcoming week. If you can pick up Khalil Herbert and maybe pitch him to the David Montgomery owner, you might be able to get something fairly good in return. And if that's the case, I'm fine picking up Khalil Herbert. I would probably spend around 25% of my fab going after Khalil Herbert, because while I do think Khalil Herbert is insanely talented, this will be a committee backfield. There's no way Khalil Herbert just outright takes the job from Montgomery. They still really do like Montgomery, and Montgomery is utilized pretty heavily. But at the same time, if you can get a guy to bite on the Khalil Herbert trade-off or on the Khalil Herbert hype, I would absolutely be fine with it. But that is my first waiver wire pickup for the week. Now let's move on to our second guy, a guy I think is just as important, if not more, somebody I might even spend actually more fab on, and that is Romeo Doubs. I think we have to move this guy to my top waiver wire priority for this week, and that is Romeo Doubs. Woo! Oh my god. Only rostered in 39% of leagues. I actually have Romeo Doubs on my bench right now in my main league, so pretty happy about that one. But Romeo Doubs looked fantastic out there, getting hot from the start of the game. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 100% completion rate when Aaron Rodgers threw it to him. So clearly Aaron Rodgers has cultivated at least a little bit of trust with this guy. 73 yards and a touchdown. And it's only his 3rd NFL game. Romeo Doubs, the hype was real in preseason, in training camp. Aaron Rodgers was saying that he absolutely loved Romeo Doubs. And now we are starting to see the connection. And now that Sammy Watkins is placed on the injured reserve, Romeo Doubs should at least take that wide receiver 3 role for the foreseeable future. The only 2 players I can see stealing work from him in the meantime are Christian Watson and Randall Cobb. And well, yes, these are players with some hope. Randall Cobb is a dinosaur. He is ancient. He's not going to be taking away that much work. And Christian Watson has been a walking injury since he stepped into the NFL and has not had time to cultivate chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, unlike Romeo Doubs. And Aaron Rodgers is a very timing-based quarterback. He's somebody who needs chemistry with his wide receivers. It's clear that he has chemistry with Romeo Doubs, going 8 of 8. And Lazard is the wide receiver 1 in this offense, so Romeo Doubs will most likely be drawing cornerback 2 coverage, which is awesome, because Lazard most likely will not be able to handle the cornerback 1 a lot, whereas Romeo Doubs will be absolutely fine against the cornerback 2. But I think, honestly now, I think if you're in need of a wide receiver, I would absolutely go out and try and target Romeo Doubs. I think he is my number 1 waiver wire pickup now. I'm going to have him as number 2 in this video in terms of listing, but I would spend more fab money on Romeo Doubs than I would on Khalil Herbert, just because Khalil Herbert is filling in for a guy with an injury, whereas Romeo Doubs might have a mainstay role for a long time. I would probably go out and spend 35-40% of my fab on Romeo Doubs, see if I can go out and acquire him for that price tag. I think he's absolutely worth it. I think this guy's going to be soaring up. He's going to go from 39% roster, which he is now, to 70%, 80% in a matter of days here. But that is my number 2 waiver wire pickup, or now my number 1. At wide receiver, especially if you need a wide receiver, go out and get this man. But now let's move on to my waiver wire pickup number 3. My number 3 waiver wire pickup for this week is Zay Jones. I think Zay Jones is someone that, well, yes, he is in a, I don't even want to say bad offense anymore. The Jaguars historically have been a pretty bad offense, but this year they actually look pretty good. I mean, destroying the Chargers 38-10, destroying the Colts 24-0. I don't even think I can rightly say this is a bad offense anymore. And Zay Jones is a pivotal part of the offense. Only rostered in 14% of leagues right now, so you can go out and get him in pretty much almost every league. And this is a guy who's coming out averaging 8 targets a game with the number 1 pick in last year's draft. Someone who was arguably the most hyped prospect since Andrew Luck, maybe even more so than Andrew Luck. I mean, he has all the skills needed. And last year, the main problem with the offense was Urban Meyer. He was just destroying this team. Now Trevor Lawrence is a competent head coach. I think that will help him out a lot. Zay Jones looks to be that number 2 in this offense. Having 9 targets, 4 targets, and 11 targets, I think he's absolutely worth at least a stash. Well, yes, Christian Kirk is going to be operating as that 1. It is possible that they are going to be caught in some negative game scripts in the future, and they're going to need to be throwing the ball a lot. So if that's the case, I think Zay Jones is a must pick up here. I'm very surprised with the Jags in general, but I would go out and pick him up. I wouldn't spend more than 10-15% of my fab on him, but I think he's an absolutely worth it pickup. And this week in general is full of guys that are worth good pickups. So yeah, I would absolutely go and get him. But now I just want to move on to some quicker shout-outs, maybe just some names that are either over the 50% threshold or are under and are just worth at least monitoring. Maybe you could spend a little bit of fab money on him. The first is Jamaal Williams. He is over the 50% roster rate for this, but he is only at 60%. I mean, if he is available in your league, absolutely go pick him up. This is a guy who's getting the touchdowns with the Lions already, having 4 touchdowns in his first 3 weeks, and now DeAndre Swift goes down. We don't know for how long. I'm assuming it's going to be for a couple weeks, but we don't exactly know, so I would absolutely go pick him up. I would pick him up over any of these other guys, besides maybe Romeo Doubs. If he were on your waiver, I imagine he's probably not, but 60% rostered, there's a 2/5 chance that he's on the waivers, so I would go out there, try and get him. And this is a guy who's running behind a great offensive line and will be getting all the touches. What more can you ask for than that? Now, just 2 tight ends I want to talk about that are both on the waiver wire right now. The first guy is David Njoku. I mean, Njoku looked great with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett just looked like an all-star quarterback in the game. It was really strange to see Jacoby Brissett play as well as he did. And David Njoku was the primary beneficiary of that, having 10 targets for 9 receptions, a touchdown. I mean, Njoku looked pretty good. He looked like a tight end you hit at least flex and hope that he does well. He's only rostered in 37% of leagues. You can go out, give him a scoop. I wouldn't spend much of my fab money on him, maybe 10-15%. But if you need a tight end, all the tight ends are pretty bad, and he's getting Deshaun Watson back at the end of the season, so he's at least worth the roster spot, I think. And the other guy I want to talk about is Tyler Conklin. Well, yes, it's Tyler Conklin. It doesn't really feel like a good name. And Zach Wilson is coming back. This is a guy who was on the field for almost every single snap, 92%, 100%, and 79% in the past 3 weeks, getting 8 targets a game in the tight end landscape where everyone is pretty bad. I mean, it's nice to just have a stable piece. If you're getting 8 targets a game at the tight end position and you don't have one of those elite guys, I'm fine picking him up. He's only rostered in 29% of leagues, so I think he's at least worth a glance at. My concern is Zach Wilson is coming back, and I don't know how much Zach Wilson's going to be liking to target Tyler Conklin as much, but it is possible he does if Tyler Conklin's really just that guy. So, I mean, I think he's at least worth a mention here. But that's pretty much it for the waiver wire video for this week. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, please go down, leave a like. Again, I'm answering every single comment, whether it be trade related, start sit related, anything. I am more than happy to help you all out in fantasy football. And subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on if you guys want to win your fantasy football leagues. Again, you can always change your mind later during the off season. But anyways, that is it from me. As always, have a good day, a good night, and a good life.